I have an $829 iPhone 12. It has 2 rear cameras, but I also have a Galaxy S21. It costs $800 and has 3 rear cameras. Are more cameras better, or do you get better images for a little more money? To find out, I picked both phones in a good old-fashioned camera shootout. Look, let's just be upfront here. I really don't think there are people really deciding between the Galaxy S21 and the iPhone 12. There will be some, and those people probably aren't going to make their purchasing decision based on the cameras alone. With that disclaimer said, let's get into this camera comparison. They're both really good. Let's get nitpicky though. There are 3 things I want to talk about when I look at these photos. The first is the sharpness, and I truly believe the iPhone just is a little sharper than the S21. I mean, both are good. There's just a little more sharpness, a little more detail in the iPhone one. Here's another picture. This is at a coffee shop. Take a look, especially at the menu there. So here's the iPhone one, and here is the Samsung one. There's just a little more sharpness, and that's probably because the iPhone has a new lens this year, which is where that sharpness is coming from. The second thing with my nitpickies is that Samsung renders a brighter photo. Usually, not all the time, but most of the time the photos are brighter. Some people really want bright photos, and you're gonna get that little bit of an edge from the Samsung phone. I'm going to show you probably the most extreme example of the brightness difference. Both of them have an HDR mode. iPhone's called Smart HDR. I think this is like their 3rd HDR version. But the iPhone here is going for a little more subdued look. This is, in large part, aside from the rocks and the water, is what it looked like in reality to me. It was after sunset, blue hour had been kicking in. The S21, hey, let's make it brighter, let's make it bluer, let's make the grass greener. But I do think it captured the muddy river much better. And the last nitpick I want to talk about is white balance. And again, you're gonna see this across the line. Cameras are gonna kind of hue one way or the other, right? So the iPhone for the last few years has hued more toward warm colors, especially if there's a person in the shot. The S21, it's a little cooler, it's a little brighter, it's a little softer, but there's a giant window just casting all this light in, so you get all this blue daylight, right? And the iPhone kind of corrects for that. I don't know if it's like, oh, there's a person in here, must make it warmer, but yeah, and it's gonna come down to your preference. All right, so let's move on to someplace on both phones where we're gonna see a very big difference, and that's the telephoto. And the fact is, the Galaxy S21 has a dedicated telephoto camera, so even if it was just an okay telephoto camera, it's gonna deliver better results than a cropped in image on the iPhone because it's just designed to go that way. So here is a photo at 1x on the main camera of the iPhone 12. Looks pretty fantastic. Really fun scene happening on this river here, right? And here is the Galaxy S21 version of that same photo. Now let's zoom in. So here is the iPhone 1x again. Here is the iPhone with me pinching in and zooming to 3x. Again, this is just a digital zoom. This is a crop. Here is 3x on the Galaxy S21. What a difference. Oh my goodness. It's like, yeah, okay. Now it's just gonna get worse for the iPhone and slightly worse for the S21, but it's so far ahead in terms of this image quality. And the iPhone is going to top out at 5x digital zoom. You can see here, things are not great looking. That's as close of a zoom as the iPhone 12 can get. Let's back out to the Galaxy S21. 10x here is really pretty decent. I would say it's kind of right on par with 5x on the iPhone 12. Maybe even a little bit better there, especially if you look at the water there. Then here's 20x. All right, now things start to look more like a painting, right? And here is 30x. I don't know why you would use this, unless you really like, oh my God, my kid's performing with Lady Gaga, and I didn't know about this happening, and they're 3 blocks away, and I want to zoom in. Like, maybe that's the only scenario that this would happen. Let's move on to night mode. Both phones have night mode. Both night modes are pretty fantastic. So where are the differences here? Let's start with the iPhone 12. So here is the red light building, pretty great. Here is the river. We're gonna get back to this. I think this is just gorgeous the way it rendered it. Here is this really cool empty building on the river. Look at that beautiful reflection. Look at the clouds. Love how the iPhone can really nail it sometimes. But one of the problems that plagues the iPhone, and this isn't new to the iPhone 12, I think it's been going on since at least the iPhone 11 series, and I feel it's across all the models on the 12 this year that I've seen this. It has a reflection problem. So if there's a light source, it just reflects. I don't know if it's like the lens coating, if it's the compactness of the lens, or what's causing that reflection, but it's there. And if you look at this photo, you might like, I don't see much reflection at first. I'm gonna have you look at the middle of the picture here, and you're gonna see that the clouds have some writing in them. Then there's this for weird reflection, and I don't even know where that one's coming from. I'm gonna guess it might be like the top here. Where's that coming from? Look, night mode's solving a problem, and it's pretty amazing. So something like that is a trade-off, but you gotta think about that. The other thing I noticed with the iPhone is it tends to sharpen the photos a lot. So let's go back to the empty building, and let's take a look at the bricks here. So here's the iPhone version of this photo, and here's the Samsung photo. And the iPhone one, just without even zooming in, you can see the bricks, the detail is just more crunchy. It's a little more, oh, we gotta make it sharp, you know? And some of that might be that lens, and some of it might be the processing. I think it's the processing. Whereas the Samsung, this is where I think it finds a better neutral place with the detail on those bricks. But Samsung also has some issues, and I think sometimes it's the brightness issue. It just wants to push that brightness just maybe a little bit further than I would like. Not horrible. Also, Samsung does a little more noise reduction on their night mode photos. So if you take a look at the clouds here, it's just like so smooth. It's kind of like just someone made a beautiful painting of those clouds. Doesn't look bad at all, but let's take a look at the clouds in the iPhone one. They still have some of that detail and texture. There is a little bit of noise in there, but I think it actually adds to that. So again, all this is down to aesthetics, but this is what I see in night mode. And this is from the iPhone. And you know what? The Galaxy did a hell of a job too. I would dare say it's even smoother, and I think some of that's that noise reduction as well. So I want to show you though 2 more photos before we leave the night mode section, and that is actually to do with portrait mode. So one of the neat features of the iPhone is night mode's on all cameras now, and you can take night mode portraits or portraits in night mode. I don't know what the label is, so I did that. First, let's just address the pose here. It's a sassy pose. I didn't mean to have a sassy pose, but this is taken with a rear camera, and there was no light on me. This is like there were maybe half a block on either side street lights, and I just love the way it renders it. I love the way it cuts me out. I mean, if we want to get critical here, the collar on the back here misses that detail. It's better than nothing, and it's better than what you're gonna see from the Galaxy S21. So here is the Galaxy S21, and just to remind you, you can do a medium wide shot on the iPhone, but because the Galaxy S21 has a telephoto camera, you actually have a different look to the medium wide. So here is a Galaxy S21 portrait taken at night with the close-up feature, the telephoto. And here is the wide one, so not horrible. It reminds me maybe like back in the day, like before like people could afford Photoshop licenses, you would go to like there used to be a copy and print place called Kinko's, and you would like cut out someone from a photograph and then put them on a background and Xerox copy it. That's what this looks like to me. If you're into night mode portraits, obviously the iPhone does that better. I think that's fair. All right, let's move on to selfies. I want to apologize, you can see my face a bunch, but pandemic times, social distancing, you get the idea. That being said, here is a selfie from the 12 megapixel camera on the iPhone. And here is one on the 10 megapixel camera on the Galaxy S21. Okay, there's less megapixels, but I think it just looks a little more crispy. It looks a little more like better detail. And what I think is happening here is the fact that even though the Galaxy S21 has only a 10 megapixel sensor on that camera, it has dual pixel autofocus. But the iPhone has a locked focus, a fixed focus is what it's called. And a lot of phones have this. So what we're seeing the improvement comes from is not the megapixels or the sensor. Where we see the improvement is actually that dual pixel autofocus. Both phones offer portrait mode for selfies. So here's one of me with the iPhone 12, and here's one of me with the Galaxy S21. Again, The Galaxy S21 is just a little sharper. I like my skin in both phones, but it looks a little softer, a little, I don't want to say out of focus, but it looks just a little softer in the iPhone 12. Let's get to one of my favorite topics, and that's going to be video. All the videos you saw in that montage were shot in 4K. The Galaxy S21 can shoot 8K video, and that right there, for some people, like, oh, 8K is more than 4K. Yeah, but I do think the image quality and some of the features you lose shooting 8K might not be worth it for a lot of people. So you get bigger files, you can't zoom, you can't use things like portrait video mode. The 8K videos, like the 4K ones, do have moire, or we call it the screen door effect, where patterns kind of shimmer when the video is moving, and it's a little more apparent on 8K. Also, 8K does not do well in low light. For a few years now, the iPhone, I feel, has been a step ahead in terms of video, and specifically image quality. And we talk a lot about resolution and formats, 4K, 60, all those things. That is important. But ultimately is that image quality. I think that's why a lot of people grab an iPhone for recording video, especially if it's gonna go and do like a professional project. That being said, the Galaxy S21 is pretty close. But let me address something that might be on a few people's minds. Now, last year, the Galaxy S20 series, specifically the S20 Ultra, had some focus issues when it came to video. The Galaxy S21, I think, does fine with focusing in video. I didn't have problems getting focus, even just with the autofocus. Like here's a shot of like a water spout coming out, and you can see it's going from the foreground to that, no problem. But let's talk about shooting video at night. This is probably the hardest thing for any phone out there right now. And it's no surprise that both of these phones don't do a great job at that, especially when you compare that to like night mode on their photos, right? I don't think either are particularly great, but if I had to give a little bit of an edge, I'd give it to the iPhone. There's just less image noise and less artifacts than the videos I shot at night on the Galaxy S21. That being said, we're still haunted by some of those light reflections. In fact, you probably see them more pronounced in a video on the iPhone than you do in photos. So let's wrap up here. First of all, these phones are far more competitive than I thought. I'll just be honest. I did not think they were going to be that close in so many different ways. On the whole, I think the Galaxy S21 is a more versatile camera, but I think it's kind of like when people buy like a mid-range SUV, and they have all these features they're just never going to use, right? And that brings me to the camera app. So many different options. There's so many ways to access settings and features, and there are people who are going to just absolutely love that, but it just has this overall busy vibe. I feel like even though I've been using a similar camera app throughout the years on Samsung phones, that I just not get overwhelmed, but it's just like, it just feels like a slog just to avoid going into a different mode or organizing all that. So let's move on to the iPhone 12. Some final thoughts on this. Number one is, whereas I think the Galaxy S21 is trying to have something for everybody, I think the iPhone is trying to make a camera that everybody can use. And that there's a difference there, right? For me, the big things are gonna be the image quality and video. I think the iPhone still edges Samsung out a little bit. And the other one is gonna be the night mode stuff, like the night mode portraits, right? Overall, there's not an obvious winner for me between these two camera systems. So that's all I got, but now I wanna hear from you guys. Do you own an iPhone 12 or a Galaxy S21? How are the cameras on it? Do you like the photos you're getting? Do you like the videos? What are things you would change? Throw your thoughts in the comments.